Five Nights at Freddy's Ruin. Nope, no, we already did that. Kind of went viral. It should happen in this video. Help Wanted 2? No, we're also past that. Secret of the Mimic. But what's a secret?
Elephant green screen effect.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing the newest drop in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, Secret of the Mimic, a new game developed by Steelwool Studios that features the Mimic, an antagonist that was introduced in the DLC known as Ruin, though now he is a prominent main antagonist throughout the entire game. This monstrous endoskeleton has the ability to transform its endoskeleton. It can basically adapt to any mascot costume. It can change its size. It can become the size of this Maestro Music Man, or Big Top, is what he's called in the game. He is ridiculously powerful as well. Today we're going to just be discussing my personal opinion of this game. We're going to be talking a little bit about its setting and premise, its story, its aesthetic, its style, its gameplay, but then I'm going to want to talk about something more serious for this franchise. Like I said in my Ruin essay video that went kind of viral, not really though, based off of like actual YouTube numbers, I said that it would be the perfect setup for this franchise, and it did set up this game, which is now the present, but it was the future at the time. This game is the norm. At least I want it to be. What I mean by that is the whole point of this video is that this game should be the new norm for the series. I really, really want the quality to stay this high because I love where we're at right now. We are being fed really good. This is like a 5-star meal for a FNaF fan. This is the best FNaF game they actually have ever released. So this video is going to be kind of like a love letter to this game because I've already beaten it 3 times and I just have so much love to express. But I also want Steelwool to, well, they're probably not going to watch this video, but if it does get enough traction, I want them to know. I want you guys to spread the word. I want everyone to know that it needs to stay like this. This is raising the standard for the series. We are no longer just getting decent or good games. This was genuinely a great experience, and I want it to stay like that. But first, let's break this down piece by piece, talking about gameplay, story, and other stuff I really enjoyed. We play as a character named Arnold, a brand new character. He's a Fazbear technician who is sent to MCM, or Murray's Costume Manor, the abandoned workshop of engineer Edwin Murray. Edwin Murray, for people who don't already know, is a character from the Tales of the PizzaPlex books. He's a brand new character. And he is also very, very important. He made the Mimic. I don't know what else to tell you. They want the prototype endoskeleton, the Mimic, though it becomes much clearer what they truly want. Though they are aware of its hostile nature, they see potential in its ability to adapt to any costume or character. So our character Arnie is ended up being tasked with hunting down the blueprints or the schematic of the prototype version of the Mimic, because why wouldn't Fazbear Entertainment want a killer robot that could adapt to anything in their possession? The manor itself is a labyrinth, but it is so stylized. Going off script here, I absolutely love the style of the manor. It is so gritty, it is so dark, but there's something about it that I just love. It reminds me of like, I don't know, like a Muppets tour at Universal Studios or something. It's genuinely such an amazing, one of the best locations in the series for sure. Back to the script. The manor is a maze, but its structure works so well. It's one of the best pieced together locations. Like every area has meaning. It's also full of puzzles that are decently easy, but they're not repetitive like Ruins. There's also many audio logs and also text briefings you can read in the logs channel on the helper computer. There's also collectibles, but these collectibles actually mean something. Unlike in Security Breach and Help Wanted, these collectibles can be used to unlock a secret ending. though it takes some time and an entirely new playthrough. Now let's get into the big boy, the Mimic, the heavy hitter, the main antagonist of the game, and the only enemy actually. He's an adaptive endoskeleton. The Mimic can wear any costume and shift its behavior to that of the mascot it is possessing. The Mimic was created after Edwin's tragic loss of his family. There were actually two versions of the Mimic, the M1 and the M2. M1 is supposed to represent or mimic his wife, Fiona, who died in an event called Fall Fest. It's unexplained how she died, but I'm sure that'll be answered in like a DLC or something. And M2 is David, his son, who was killed in a violent car crash. Well, he was hit by the car. Sorry, not sorry. But M1 eventually loses its body and is transported into this machine. This machine would be known to become the Mixes, the security program that works against the Mimic in Ruin, likely reprogrammed by Vanessa and Gregory in the future, but it is the same machine, which I thought was very interesting. M2 is the main Mimic, or the main endoskeleton we see in Ruin and in this game that pursues us and is very hostile. It is only hostile because Edwin beat the ever-loving hell out of it, which means he was just running off of pure rage and agony, and that's why he wants to kill, that's why he's so evil. One thing I also found very interesting was that M1 and M2 are complete opposites. M1 is seen as the sun, the light, in the darkness. And then M2 is supposed to be seen as the moon, the darkness, the void, evil. Which I just thought was a fun detail I had to explain. As Arnold, you navigate Murray's workshop and you evade the Mimic multiple times, who stalks you through corridors, claustrophobic spaces, and also sometimes very open areas. He also dons many new mascot costumes, so you never know what to expect. It's always going to be random, it's always going to be different, you never know what costume he's going to be wearing. The gameplay and also the survival of Arnold, your character, relies on using tools, solving puzzles that usually coincide with the environment, unlocking doors, and also managing your resources well, and also managing your environment well. You have to use your environment to your advantage. You're going to be doing a lot of stealth in this game, which is something I'm a huge fan of. I really like stealth in the games. I really like Alien Isolation and its stealth segments. So seeing actual good stealth segments in this game was just so special to me. I also thought it was decently scary as well, I might add. This game actually had me on my toes, and some of the jump scares genuinely got me. They were ear-piercing and they hurt. Ouch. There are also multiple endings in the game. There's a bad ending, what I assume is the canon or true ending, and then a secret ending, which I'm not sure is canon because the Mimic is still evil. In the bad ending, you fall victim to giving away the schematic to the Dispatch or Fazbear Entertainment, and you end up failing to escape. You are let go because that wasn't actually Dispatch talking to you, it was M1, that version of the Mimic. And then you die by the Mimic, who is hiding in the back of your van. In the true ending, in my eyes, you disobey Dispatch's orders and you venture deeper into the manor. Below the manor, you find the prototype of the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza being built. Now, this is where a lot of controversy for this game comes in. No, William and Henry did not create Freddy and Bonnie. It was theorized years ago that Foxy and Chica were originally created by a third party by somebody you guys know well. And no one had a problem with that. Everyone actually liked that theory and it made the most sense. Henry and William made Freddy and Bonnie, or Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. They commissioned Edwin to help bring these concepts, these characters, to life. And in the end, they didn't even use his versions of these characters. They made it themselves. They made the characters themselves. So I do not know why people on TikTok and Twitter are saying, this is ruining the lore, FNaF, John, like, oh, the lore, where's it going? No, the lore is fine. The lore is, people who say it's ruining the lore, I hate you. Learn reading comprehension. You learn that in the first grade when you learn how to read. Pick up a book. You read a lot of books, but somehow you're still stupid. What this game has to offer with the lore makes it a lot more interesting in my personal opinion. Now for the secret ending, which I don't think is canon, you must collect all the collectibles and run the moon.exe thing on the helper computer that I talked about earlier, and you must beat it. Upon completing it, the ending will be different. You'll have to face off against the Mimic in a room that is very, very similar to the FNaF 4 room, which makes me think William Afton just stole Edwin's fucking house, which this guy is an absolute menace, okay? But eventually we are able to calm the Mimic down, and he turns into what he was meant to be, a Mimic of David, and he's all cute and cuddly, and then he goes to sleep and powers down. It's a very tragic ending when you delve deep into Edwin's story and his just descent into madness after losing his family. But I don't think it's canon because, again, the Mimic is still evil in today's timeline. Overall, that's basically just a summary of the game, but my personal opinion, this is my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game. Understandable if it isn't yours, you have your own opinion, but this game to me is what every FNaF game should follow up in terms of quality and story and gameplay. Hopefully be better, but honestly, I'm very happy with its quality, and if it stays like this, I'm grateful, but obviously I'd love for improvements, definitely. I was a huge fan of the gameplay. It felt very fun and scary to sneak around the Mimic and evade his mascot costumes. I also think the story itself is very replayable. It's a lot of fun. I've done this 3 times now. I've completed the game 3 times, and the span of 2 days of it being released, it's a lot of fun. Visually as well, this is the best looking FNaF game. I think this style beats Security Breaches over a million times. It actually feels like a horror game again. The vibes are just there. And as for the Mimic, this guy is a much more intimidating villain than Springtrap himself. Yeah, I said it. This guy is aura farming every second he's on screen. He's an absolute menace, an absolute powerhouse, who's basically immortal, and when I mean immortal, he can't get damaged. Like, Afton burned. Like, he burned in fire. He died eventually. This guy withstands molten lava and can carry 1,000 pounds just over his head, just like that. So, he's scary. And he's awesome. He's a wicked antagonist, and I'm glad we're finally getting a new antagonist to face off in the future of these games, because I'm gonna be for real, I was getting tired of Afton. This game overall is just great. It's not a masterpiece, it's not perfect, but I had a lot of fun. FNaF fans are loving it, and we wanted something like this in the series ever since maybe the 5th or 6th game, I think. This game is what I've always wanted in FNaF. I think this perfects the free roam style that they've been going for with these last couple of games. In terms of quality, this needs to be the norm. We need to get more high quality stories like this. We need to make the lore interesting again. We need to make these characters interesting again. We need an interesting narrative. And I think Steelwool has perfected that. We have an interesting villain that we're focusing on. And we still haven't seen his full potential yet. This guy is an absolute menace, to say the least. I am very excited to see where they take his character and where they take the games themselves. I would personally like to see a DLC to this game, potentially prequels based, but I would like to see a progression in the story. I would like to see the Mimic on the loose in a town. I saw this tweet on Twitter saying something like that, like he's on the loose in a small urban town in Utah Hurricane, which is where FNaF takes place, and we could see Fredbears and maybe a prototype like Fazbears in construction or something, or like just something like that, or like a human model of William Afton and Henry. Something interesting like that would be really nice, but I'd also like to see a continuation to Ruin. But I don't want to get that until we've really fleshed out the Mimic, because I love this guy and I do not want him to go away so soon. But overall, that is my opinion, and that is my video on Secret of the Mimic. This is pretty much a review and just me talking about how much I loved it. There are cons. I got a few bugs. I got soft locked, and it's not great getting soft locked when there's only auto saves and no manual saves. Steelwool does have to improve on their playtesting and their bug fixes, but other than that, this was a pretty solid game on launch as well, and I was not disappointed at all with this title. All I hope that anyone can take from this video, like the point that someone can take and share, so maybe Steelwool can get an idea, this game is what we want. The quality is what we want. This is perfect. Like, this is what we should have gotten with Security Breach. This is what we always needed from Steelwool. This is the game. This is the game. I definitely don't think the game is gonna, like, be worse in the future. Like, whatever game they release in the future is gonna have less quality. They're always upgrading with every game. They just get better and better. But what I'm saying is, I just really like the quality that we're actually getting from these games in terms of the story too. It just feels like FNaF has come so far, because the games themselves in the past, if you are not blinded by nostalgia, they're kind of They're not that special. The only reason we are here is because of the lore and the interesting story that Scott made. I just really like what Scott and Steelwool are now doing with the franchise, with the money and the new potential that they have as a bigger dev team. But now the standard has been rised. None of those were right. But the standard is much higher for FNaF games, and I could not be happier. I'm glad this series is now something it should have been years ago. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you if you watched all the way to the end. Thank you for hearing me out on my opinions on the Mimic, and also just me talking about how this is the new standard for FNaF and how Steelwool has truly knocked it out of the park. If you want me to make more videos like this, just please let me know. I probably will, because they're a lot of fun to just talk. I think I might do more videos like these in the future, because they seem to do well, but I don't know if this one will do well since it's been like a year since I did the last one, but I hope. I did put a lot of work into it, but thanks y'all for watching. I'm gonna go play Secret of the Mimic for a fourth time. Y'all have a good one. Go buy Secret of the Mimic on Steam, $40. Absolutely worth the price. Love you, Steelwool and Scott. Peace.